So oftentimes I get people asking me questions such as, Ehi, how do I know I'm supposed to start the business? How do I know I'm supposed to start the travel agency? How do I know I'm supposed to relocate abroad to study? How do I know I'm supposed to take go back to school for the master's program? How do I know I'm supposed to start the ministry? How do I know I'm supposed to do this? I'm supposed to do that. And people want to do stuff, but doubters clouded your judgment. Self-doubt has made you feel like you're not good enough. You're not the kind of person. And let me just say this. Has this ever happened to you where God gives you an idea? Okay, he gives you an idea. He drops a seed in your heart. And say like 3 months later, it becomes a knock. And then maybe 6 months later, it becomes a nudge. And then from a nudge, it feels like someone hits you over the head. He's like, wait, hold on. I'm supposed to write the book. And God has been talking to you about writing a book for 3 years. Or he's been telling you about starting, creating an app, or maybe like an animated children's character, cartoony thing to help children. And you just keep acting like you don't see it. You don't have the resources. You don't have the time. You don't have the energy. You don't have what it takes. You don't have the knowledge. You don't have the support. You don't have the people around you. And you know exactly what you do not have. The only thing you do not know is what you do have. And so you pile on these list of excuses like, God, I don't think I'm the right one. God, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. And then one day you go somewhere and you see someone else who's doing the exact same thing as what God called you to do. Has that ever happened to you before? And you're like, oh my God, that is my idea. That's the book I was supposed to write. That's the app I was supposed to develop. That's the exact same idea that God gave me. Okay, don't let this be you. I'm pretty sure this has happened to a whole lot of people, but make sure you're not this person. When God gives you an idea, he's very patient. He is very kind. He is very merciful. He would send people to confirm the idea. He will continue to hover all over your spirit until you pick it up and until you do something about it. But oftentimes, there's some ideas that need to be implemented with speed. If you do nothing about it, or if you don't look like you are interested, he'll pass it on to someone else. But the reasons why a lot of times we don't get into the things that God has told us to do is because we're doubting ourselves. We're looking all around and saying, I don't think I have what it takes to do it. I don't think I sound like the kind of person who does things like that. I don't think I have the demeanor, the appearance, the education, the degrees, the certifications, the knowledge, the know-how, the wherewithal to do what God has called me to do. And so therefore, I'm just going to wait around like a mouse until it's judgment day, right? Or I'm just going to wait till I have it all figured out together, which never happens. So number one, self-doubt is one of the reasons why we don't do what God has told us to do. Number two, imposter syndrome. We don't feel good enough. Sometimes we feel like imposter syndrome is this little tricky thing that always tells you need more education, you need more certifications, you need to sound a certain kind of way, you need more experience, you need more this and more that, you need to be less rowdy and more put together. You need to be less, it's always telling you that you don't have the exact combination of the factors, of the success factors of the person who should be doing what God has called you to do. So number one, self-doubt. Number two, imposter syndrome. And number three, you're looking all around and you're self-selecting other people. What does that mean? Why me? What about that person? They sound better than I. They look better than I. They've been doing this for longer than I have been. They look like they have what it takes. They're more connected than I am. Why is God choosing me? I don't think so. Self-selection. And so we knock ourselves out of the game because we're expecting God to call someone else, which is very, very crazy, because here's the wild thing. We want the results. We want the thing, but we associate ourselves with the rewards, but we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to fail. We don't want to flop. We don't want to mess up. We just don't want to do the thing that we're supposed to do because we think someone else is better off doing that thing. So today I have come to remind you of what is in your hand. What is in your hand? What you got in your hand? You would never get to a point where you have absolutely nothing in your hand. Okay? The reason you don't see it right now is because of those three factors that I've stated. But here's how you can change it right now. I want you to be still, and I want you to take stock, take inventory of all the things that you know how to do, of all the things that you're excellent at, of all the things that people have complimented you about, of all the seeds that God has dropped in your heart, and ask yourself and ask the Holy Spirit, what are we supposed to be doing with these now? Okay, so number one is taking stock and taking inventory. for you to find out what's in your head. Number two is, I want you to forget about what everybody else is doing, and I want you to get super authentic with yourself. This is who I am. I don't want to be anyone else. I don't want to be less rowdy. I don't want to be I don't want to be more gentle. I don't want to be more soft-spoken. I don't want to be any more or any less of what I already am, because I know that God has deposited in me the gifts and the talent and everything that I need to fulfill my purpose. His will, His purpose, using me as a vessel on earth. Whatever else I need, He's already given it to me, if it's important for my purpose. If I don't have it, it means it is not important for the thing that He's called me to do. Let me say that again. God does not make mistakes. Everything He's placed in your care, in your heart, in your hands, in your steward, within areas of reach where you can steward right now, is because those are the things that are absolutely important for the purpose that He's called you for the assignment that He's handpicked you for. Whatever you do not have is not something you need to worry about, because it's not important for your purpose. Okay? I say all of this to say that you are complete. You are enough. You have all that it takes. What you need to do right now is to get in touch with yourself and embrace the authenticity of who you are, and start doing the things that you ought to have done a long time ago. Okay? Number 3, rinse and repeat. Here's the thing about rinsing and repeat. Once you have the system going, once you have the formula going, all you need to do is to make sure that it works in a culture. Remember science experiments where we just kind of make sure that it works in a little culture? Maybe it's just like, I need to make sure that this works. The customer can meet the producer. I need to make sure that this formula works on a small scale. When it works on a small scale, then I can go ahead and expand, rinse and repeat, copy and paste, expand and systemize. But first, before I do that, I want to make sure that it works on a test scale, on a small scale. Does that make sense to you? This is what you need to do. But a lot of people skip the steps, or want to skip the steps, want to go big, want to be more of something they're not, want to do much rather spend time admiring other people, being inspired by other people, but not doing enough for the gifts and the talents that God has given you on the inside of you. Every single thing you need for your next level is already within you right now. And this is why the prophet went to the home of the widow and he said, what do you have in your hands? What do you have in your home right now? And she had nothing but a jar of oil. But that jar of oil was all that she needed to be out of debt, to feed herself and her son, to get out of poverty and lack and scarcity. That was all she needed. If there was more that she needed, God would have supplied her with more. Here's the thing that you have to understand. If you need more, He would have given you more. If this is all you got in your hands right now, it means that this is all you need. Okay? So take what you have in your hands right now and run. Take what you have in your hands right now and move. Take what you have in your hands right now and stop looking to the left, stop looking to the right. Stay focused, stay on track, and go in the direction of your dreams. Go and do what God has told you to do. No overthinking permitted. No thinking yourself out permitted. Just doing what God has called you to do in the simplest fashions, with all that you have, with the data you have, with the internet you have, with the phone that you have, with the knowledge that you have, with the information that you have, with the circle and the people around you, the network that you have. Not wishing, not hoping, not praying that you had more. Because if you had more, if you needed more, you would have had more. And more would not come until you unlock zone 1. Once you unlock the first zone, very similar to a video game, once you unlock the first level, then you can get ahead to the next level, and then unlock the next level, and then unlock the next level. And that's how God works with us. So this is more so an encouragement message to all the entrepreneurs, all the ministers, all the people that God has placed things in their hands, all the people that have been gifted, all the people that are supposed to be doing right now and are not doing, and are waiting for things to be perfect. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect opportunity. Now is the only time you have, literally. Now is the only time you have. Get to work, act fast, and I'll see you on the other side. Make sure you're bringing along the Holy Spirit. Make sure you're partnering up with Him, and make sure you're carrying Him on board with what you're doing. I love you. God bless you. Bye.